How's it going, guys? Dean's here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are going to be looking at a couple of the brand new things that EA have released today. Obviously, we have just had this Player of the Month Jamie Vardy card come out. It looks incredible. I think I'll probably get around to doing it. It's only the one squad as well. It's only an 83 rated squad, so that's not awful. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about the new announcement of the Road to the Final cards. We've had the Road to the Final cards released for us today, and just take a look at them. These look incredible. I just want to go through a couple of these. I'm really glad they've done Europa League properly this year. I'd argue probably we haven't really had that much on it, but we've got a couple cards here. So Europa League wise, we've got that Juan, Jesus, Dumfries and Jimenez. Some brilliant looking cards. Could fit in quite a few people's squads quite nicely. They look fantastic. On the right-hand side, we have got Wendell, Wass, and, of course, I am just going to move my camera along so you can see it. RTTF Militao has also got himself a card there, and it looks fantastic. These cards look like brilliant upgrades. We've got ourselves also a Neres, a Marhez, a Sancho, a Dembele, a Coman, an Allan, a Son, Handanovic, Dybala, Mane, and Kante. A brilliant selection of cards. They've done fantastically this year, I think, selecting the players. Some massively hype players there. Like, one that's quite a surprise to me, Sancho. That's a massive one. I'm wondering if maybe, I don't know, I feel like they've obviously stuck him in being a cover guy. Going to be quite popular. He's a really good player in this game. His normal card's amazing anyway. Nice +2 upgrade for him in that. And the card looks pretty fantastic. One I'm keeping my eye on is that Dembele. He's in my squad right now, and I'd love to pick that card up. You've got to think about the upgrades that these cards could get already. So we've got the base upgrades here, but obviously with every win, they get upgrades and whatnot. I say every win, every progression through the Champions League, they'll get their upgrades. And there's some of these cards could just end up being incredible. So, like, for example, Son. If you think, like, last year when Spurs got to the final, think about the upgrade Son's going to get. That Marnie as well, the upgrade he'll get. He's already an 89 rated. I believe it's 5, if I'm right in thinking. He could go up to a 94 rated card. Son could go up to a 93 rated card. There are some fantastic cards in it. Kante could go up to a 95 rated card if Chelsea went far. If they go far, I don't know. But some of these cards are incredible. And you've got to think about some of the meta players that are in here. So that Militao is going to be very expensive. I'm not too sure how much I think he'll be. But going to be a very, very expensive card. But I think a lot of people will really go after him. Allan is in a lot of people's squads at the moment. So I think people will go for him. I'm a bit curious about some of the prices for some of these. So we'll take an example as Neres. Now, think back to last year when Tagliafico got his left-back card. It went for pretty much discard, if I remember correctly. But obviously, Ajax did a bit of a madness and got quite far in the Champions League. And obviously, his card got a nice bunch of upgrades. But there are a bunch of cards in here that I'm quite surprised EA went with. Last year, I wouldn't really rate the selections they've gone through. But genuinely, there are multiple. There's very few that I don't have interest in. Like, as ridiculous as it sounds, that Wendell, I think with a bunch of upgrades, that'll be a fantastic card. And because he's Brazilian, it's not awful to link into squads. Wass, I think he'll be quite popular as well. As quite a good all-round midfielder. So, again, I think he'll be quite popular. But at the same time, it's one of those that you've got to look at how far you think the club's going to go. And I think that's obviously going to determine their price. But at the same time, if, say, Valencia do an absolute madness and shock the world and go really far and go to the final, his card's obviously going to fluctuate in price massively. But I want to just look at these Europa League cards as well. A little bit gutted to see no Arsenal players in there, but is what it is. But we've got Juan, Jesus, Dumfries and Jimenez. That Jimenez card isn't awful already just looking at it, and I can just imagine if Wolves do pretty well in Europa League, that card's going to be fantastic. That Dumfries card looks brilliant as well. I remember last year when he got his SBC card, that was quite popular for a little bit, and I think this card will be pretty good if PSV do pretty well in the tournament as well. Juan Jesus as well. This card could potentially become a bit of a beast. If Roma do quite well in the Europa League, then potentially that card could come to be pretty good. What I do want to have a look, I'm going to look in just a second at the Foothead page and just see if maybe we've got any in-game stats for some of these. I'd love to look at some of the in-game stats, but you've got cards like Marhez and Sancho and Dembele. Those are just fantastic. Like I said, I really want to pick up that Dembele. I've got him in my squad right now, and honestly, he's one of my favourite players that I've used this year. Him and Mbappe up top are just phenomenal. So I'm definitely picking him up. No matter what, I really want to pick this guy up. I'm not going to fall too much into the bait. These cards are going to be very expensive when they first come out because of the hype of them. But I'm 100% picking him up. Coman looks like a pretty decent card. Never really a player I use too much. Very pacey, brilliant dribbling though, and great passing, so he could be a good one. Allan is going to be a very popular player. I come up against him so much in Weekend League. I think he's one of the most used midfielders that I've seen anyway in Weekend League, so I can only imagine people pick him up. But at the same time, I do wonder what his price is going to be like, because although it's a nice upgrade for him, so that's going to put the price up a little bit, not too sure how far Napoli will go. That's not to say I don't think they'll go far, but I don't know if people are going to invest a lot into him because they might think that he won't get as many upgrades. Son, now this is going to be, I think he'll definitely be at least £1 million, probably more, just because of how good Son is. I don't actually know how much he is at the moment. The last time I bought Son a couple weeks ago, he's about 400k on the PlayStation. I think he'll be over £1 million. My gut feeling feels he'll be that at least, and that's purely just because I know Spurs aren't going through a great spell at the moment, but if they perform like they did last year, this card is going to be fantastic. It's fantastic anyway. Son is a brilliant card, so I think a live version of Son is going to be very popular amongst users. Handanovic is not one I care too much for, but you know, if Inter do well, it's going to be a very high-rated goalkeeper. It's nice that EA are finally doing something with goalkeepers, because we've gone for a few promos now, and no goalkeepers really seem to get favoured at all. So that's that. Dybala is another one there, which I don't really use a lot, but he looks like he could be pretty good. Could potentially go to a 94 rated. I'm hoping I'm right in saying this. I think it's a maximum of 5 boosts that they can get. I could be wrong. I think you get they get an upgrade for coming through the knockout, passing the knockout stage, their first win, getting to the semi-final, the final, and winning. Now I think that's right. I could be wrong, and they might do it differently. I'm not too sure, but that's it there. Mane as well. I think Kante, Marnie, Son will probably be the most expensive one. Militao can probably be up there. I think Dembele will be up there as well. That Mane card looks fantastic, and I think with some upgrades, the way Liverpool are going, that card's guaranteed upgrades. So that is going to be a fantastic card at some point. Curious to see how much it's going to go for. But yeah, it looks fantastic. And Kante as well. That's a pretty nice one. It's pretty insane that they've put him in there. I know last year, I think the one player that shocked me last year was they put Suarez in there. But it worked quite well. I don't think Suarez got too many special cards last year, so it didn't make the card too irrelevant. And it was quite a popular player amongst a lot of people. But yeah, a bunch of good cards. Now I just want to see if Foothead's updated it yet, if we've got anything on here. I don't know if we've got, I know we've got this Kante here, so maybe they're slowly coming onto the page. Nothing yet, it seems. But let's just take a look at Kante's in-game stats. 98 stamina. How much of an upgrade is this from his previous one? So let's just compare the upgrades for this Kante here, because I'm really curious to see what price he's going to go for. Not really much of improvement. I didn't really realise, I've not used Kante this year, so I didn't realise his stamina was that high. That's some decent stamina for him. Some pretty good upgrades all around. But obviously I don't think with him being that high rated they would have made too many upgrades on him. But a nice upgrade on his passing stats, which is pretty good. A few dribbling increases. Not an awful card, to be honest with you. Actually looks pretty decent. Just unfortunately, maybe if we just try like something like Footwiz. I just want to see if maybe somebody's got any of these cards up yet. It doesn't seem like anyone's got these cards out yet, which is a bit frustrating. I'm sure it's just a little bit delayed, but nobody seems to have the cards out, which is a bit unfortunate. I want to maybe look a little bit more into the in-game rating. Oh, there we go. We've got a couple more of them now. So if we got them up here, Mane. Let's take a little look at Mane. This card, again, it's incredible. I know he's obviously, it's the same rating as his in-form, which is a little bit of a shame. I'm not going to complain and say it's a bad thing. I get why EA have done it, just simply because he's going to be quite high rated. If Liverpool do what they did last year and go all the way with the Champions League, it's going to be a very high rated card anyway. But yeah, it's not awful. And it's a left-wing version, so I suppose you can excuse that. But again, I want to see, actually, what's the difference in stats? So his shooting's obviously better on his striker card, which I guess I can understand. And physical is better. Physical and passing is better, actually, for this Road to the Final cards. This card looks fantastic. Again, I think it'll be somewhere between 1 to 2 mil. I think this could be a very expensive card, especially because of how good he is in FIFA. Let's just take a look at another one here. see who's there. I'm not really too interested in Dybala. I'll look at him in a second, but let's just take a look at Heung-min Son. +1 upgrade for him. So obviously, the higher rated ones are going to have quite minimal upgrades. But let's take a look at what's had the biggest upgrade. So a +3 on stamina, which is pretty good for him. That's always kind of useful in FIFA. It's kind of a lot across the whole board, to be honest, with his increases. So it's not awful, that actually. Again, Son's card is fantastic this year, so don't blame anyone for wanting to see it. Allan's one I wanted to look at. I completely forgot Allan was 85 rated, to be honest with you. I don't know why I thought he was 84 rated. But yeah, not... Well, I was going to say not too many upgrades for him. There's a lot of just +1s. But the shooting does not look too bad whatsoever. Nice couple upgrades on his shooting, which is nice. Again, a lot of this is going to be really kind of dictating on how well the clubs play, just to see if we get these upgrades for the cards. Anything else though that I want to maybe take a look at? Dembele, that's one I want to have a good look at. So this is a +2 upgrade. And again, like, you've got some fantastic upgrades across the board. I think this card's going to be fantastic when it finally comes out. It's going to be a pretty good card. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm guessing it's going out at 6 o'clock. I've got some packs saved, so there might be a video a little bit later on around these Road to the Final cards, so be sure to tune in for that. If you haven't already, then be sure to tick the notification bell so you never miss an upload from me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, and if you're brand new, be sure to subscribe. Apart from that, I'll catch you later on for another video. Bye-bye.